is Arizona Senator and former Republican presidential nominee John McCain. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
Finance reform bill, dead, alive, comatose? How would you describe it?
I'd say alive. I think that there's been significant progress made. I think there's more progress that needs to be made. There's a lot of complexities here. A lot of members, frankly, don't understand all aspects of the bill, but I think there is a common desire to achieve a goal here.
In the end, will Americans, if this gets passed, in the end, will Americans be immune from the same kind of cataclysm that almost took the country off the economic edge 2 years ago?
The bill as it's constituted, I certainly couldn't give that guarantee. For example, Fannie and Freddie are not, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not included in any way in this legislation. They were the major catalyst behind this meltdown.
The big mortgage lenders, yeah.
Exactly. I'm very worried about the fact that these financial institutions that are big have gotten bigger. So there's a lot of concern here, but I think there is a good faith effort being made to reach an agreement.
Yeah. One of the things that was talked about was this whole notion of too big to fail. These giant financial institutions make most of their money now, not by mergers and acquisitions, not by investment banking, but by trading. They don't want to get out of the trading business. How are you going to how does any of this dismantle these giant financial institutions?
Well, I think that there's regulations over so-called derivatives and there's other measures, but what bothers me is that don't we just, as Senator Cantwell and I have recommended, just go back to the point where banks that do the traditional banking things, making loans to people so they can buy their homes and all of that, just make them separate from these financial institutions, as we'll find out today in the hearing with Mr. Blankfein, that they do a lot of other things. In fact, there is compelling evidence, as was just reported, that the kind of activity that Goldman was in hastened and deepened the crisis.
Yeah. Do you feel like, or from what you understand of it anyway, that Goldman Sachs was literally betting against itself?
I don't think they were betting against themselves. I think they were trying to hedge their bets the same way if you go to Las Vegas to the sports book and the sports book balances the bets, but it had the effect of worsening and deepening the housing crisis, in my view.
I want to talk about immigration reform. Your state, your governor just signed into law a very tough immigration reform bill, which basically makes it illegal for you to be in the state without some sort of documentation. Is this law the answer to the immigration crisis?
This law is a response to the president's and the administration's failure to secure our borders. Our borders are broken. It's worse than I have ever seen it. Let me give you two numbers. Across the Tucson sector of Arizona last year, there was 241,000 apprehensions of illegal immigrants. When you do the math, you catch 3 to 5. That means over 1 million. There was 1.3 million pounds of marijuana intercepted on the Tucson border just last year. The border is broken. The cartels are in an existential struggle with the government of Mexico. The violence is at an all-time high, and the federal government has a responsibility to secure the borders. They have not. In fact, they've even in their budget reduced the Border Patrol. We need to send 3,000 National Guard to the border.
And for the millions of Hispanic Americans who live in Arizona, what do you say to them who feel like this bill is purely discriminatory?
I say to them that I do not want any discriminatory behavior, and I've talked to a group of lawmen a shorter time ago as Saturday, sheriff of Pinal County and police chiefs. They think they can implement this law without racial profiling.
All right. Senator John McCain, we thank you for your time. Do appreciate it.
Thank you, Harry.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.